You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based to debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take. On Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless and Lovie Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas, but we're broadcasting all over the world via Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We're coming to you from Houston, Texas. It's Women Rock Wednesday. We got a special woman today that's going to be on the show. Shout out to Trina Williams Mouton, Anissa Ville, Yolanda Green, the first three women that are Tyandra Holmes. I see you. Jessica Brooks. I got you, Jessica. I'm looking at all my devices, Jessica. I got you. But Jimmy, I want a special show today. I want to start this. Y'all, hold on. Hey, Mindy, come on in, Trey Phillips. But Jimmy, I want to start this because it's a touchy subject we're about to touch, and I just got to get myself right. So I'm going to start it off with a quick little prayer, Jimmy. Dear Lord, today, stop the madness in Minnesota, disrupt the system in Brunswick, put the insanity on a leash in Central Park, and serve warrants to the supremacists. Hide me behind the Calvary's cross that somebody might see a glimpse of Jesus. I am the clay, you're the potter. Lord, take me, make me, shape me, mold me, use me, fill me with your Holy Spirit today, because I'm going to need it. Amen. Jimmy, I had to get that out the way for me to deal with a subject that we about to deal with. I see Stephen Jackson called George Floyd a twin. We're talking about George Floyd, the guy who so brutally was murdered right in front of our eyes. Jimmy, Jimmy, it's hard for me to watch those things. I mean, sometimes I go days and days without watching it because I have to get my mind right. See, I'm a guy that's filled with praise and prayer. If you knew my story, you understood. I was blessed to have a great mom. Dad died when I was 12. 5 brothers and 5 sisters. But guess what? I'm not too far from being one of these guys. A guy on the other side of the track, could have been anywhere. So I'm thankful every day. But Jimmy, these kind of things, it just got to me. I sit there and watch. I'm thinking about Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick was banned from the NFL for peacefully protesting deaths like George Floyd's. What, Jimmy, what I want to know to my white friends, what knee bothers you the most? The knee that Kaepernick kneeled on, or the knee that's in that man's neck? And he kept telling him over and over, Jimmy, that's why I didn't want to. Oh, I didn't want. When I heard those words, I can't breathe again. Then I think about Philando Castile, who got shot in Minnesota. Now, Jimmy, and we got to watch out, because guess what? They're going to try to demonize George Floyd. Those 4 police officers who got fired yesterday, Jimmy, let me tell you something, man. The reason they got fired, and I'm going to let you chime in. I told you this is a touchy subject for me. They got fired yesterday. They were fired because organizers, Jimmy, check this out, successfully protested the city in 2016 when Castile got killed, to drop a policy requiring officers to intervene whenever the witness or another officer using excessive force. That's why all of them got fired. Sonia, how you doing? Jimmy, I'm going to let you go. Jimmy, I told you, you wanted to go here. Jimmy, let me tell you something, man. That's why I got to get prayed up. That's why people, let me tell you something. I'm not against no other people. Robert Hatter just happened to love his people so much, because I see ain't nobody else loving us, so I'm going to love us. I'm going to love us to life. I'm not going to love you to death. I'm going to love you to life. What you got, Jimmy?
Well, this type of conversation, it always needs a certain amount of energy. That's kind of like driving from Houston to Dallas. If you know you have a quarter tank of gas, there ain't no way you're going to get straight there. So in this situation, what I want to explain to you guys, first, understand something, get some things out the way, and which most of you already know. And that is, there are indeed bad apples. There's bad teachers. There's bad coaches. There are some bad people in the media. There are bad politicians. There are bad firemen. Also, there are bad police officers. Now, the thing that, and we all know that, the thing that comes into play is why is it that if there's so many good ones, that they never seem to be around when the bad ones are killing our people? That's the part that it's kind of hard to digest. Why is it there's never the good one that's present? And we know there's a lot of good ones out there. And I've spoken this morning with a couple of police officers here in Houston, because the situation with George Floyd, and a lot of reports saying that he has ties to Houston. No, hell with that. He's from Houston. I don't like that word, and I'll tell you about the media stuff in a minute. But he's from Houston. He grew up in the CUNY homes. The CUNY homes are projects. That's what they called them back in the days. Government housing that were built. That's directly across the street from Texas Southern University on one side, on the south side of those, and on the east side by Yates High School. So they're one block separation. You can look right out at Yates High School through one side, out of one windows. We live on the east side of those projects. And on the south side, you can look directly at Texas Southern University. Yeah, true. If you live upstairs, you can see Texas Southern and U of H. You live on the east side. But my point is this. Played football for Yates. Came out, I think, in 93. And there's a lot of people, one of the things about it, they had last night they had a gathering in 3rd Ward at Emancipation Park. And guess what they said on the news? It's like a little bitty thing, because you on this side of the fence, myself, and I see what's happening. And so don't get it twisted, guys. So I'm going to contact certain people in the local media, and I'm going to question and then bring back their answers to you as to why they use certain terms. Why did they call the gathering last night at Emancipation Park a protest? There wasn't a protest last night. It was some people that went to Yates together and from the CUNY homes that probably don't live there anymore. That was a common ground that they can come because this particular park has been renovated in the past year and renewed. It's one of the best looking parks in the city right now, Emancipation Park. Now, one thing that the media did get right, they called it Third Ward, which probably technically they probably got it wrong because as me and you had we announced on the Chop Shop 2 years ago that the city technically has renamed it.
It's still Third Ward, though.
No, they renamed that area.
I know.
That area has been identified as even on the next.
What you call it?
The economic corridor.
Yes, but I mean that's.
No, I'm just saying. You notice how they try to throw the name. So if you're looking at what they're trying to do, they tried to call that. They did.
So why didn't they call it the economic corridor?
That's what so they got that wrong as well.
Jimmy, I said yesterday, the people who cover the media don't look like us and don't live in there. I'm talking most of them. I'm not talking about everybody got the Gina Gaston and the Melanie Lawson. I'm talking about it's just Jimmy, and we don't own none of that stuff. We don't own no major media outlets. So of course. We can sit here and talk about it all we want to, Jimmy. We just got to not listen to it because we can't control them unless you got them on the show and let the person, the power that be, let's come talk about it. There's nothing we can do about the media. We got to worry about we got to control the controllables. We got the vote. I know people talking about not vote. Let me tell y'all something. This policies. You think about this. This man got killed yesterday, right? And you got the union, which is their job, trying to get their jobs back. So guess what? They get fired here. So we got to change the laws where, Jimmy, if they get fired here, they're decertified as a cop. So they won't go nowhere else and get a job and do this. You know, I don't know because it's clickbait on social media, so I have to watch the information. They got a picture of this same guy. Might not, it looks like him, with a MAGA hat on. And hold up. Then they got that same police department had the police chief had to reprimand those guys for supporting Trump. Okay, so guess what? They said in their uniforms. So guess what? They came back and had red shirts on, t-shirts on, and still supported them. These guys and that lady Amy Cooper. Y'all, this is the kind of stuff that's happened to us. Suppose the police had got there. I'm switching subjects. Y'all got to follow me here because my heart is heavy today. That young man could have been Mr. Cooper, who was there watching birds in Central Park. That's why I prayed, Lord, let's stop the insanity in Central Park. A black man came, and did you see how venomous? It's a black man, he's threatening my life. Jimmy, the police gonna come and look for the first black dude and try to do something to him. I'm gonna tell y'all, I don't have the answers, but I know it comes with policy. I know if enough of these guys get fired and get decertified, they have consequence for their action. What we say, Jimmy, there's consequence for every action. If enough of these guys get fired and stop them from being a police or what they call them, a race soldiers now. Dude, this man just sat and stuck his knee in that man's neck and kept it there. And the woman was a paramedic. The white girl was a paramedic. Said, man, let me check his vitals. Don't you get a man? It's some evil going out here, man. And y'all got to realize, take his badge, take him out, and put him and let him come try to do that stuff to George Floyd without the badge and stuff on. See, That's the problem, Jimmy. When you take their power away, their power is that badge, Jimmy. Their power is in that badge. I mean, it's got me in an uproar. I'm talking to people all over the country. Churches, somebody just said, our black churches got to stand up, man. You don't have to be let me tell you something. You don't have to be a political, a social justice person, but you got to be a community justice person. You got to be a community leader. You don't have to be Jimmy, you and I, in this platform. That's why we're using it today. We have to be community leaders. I don't want to hear all that old mess now, y'all. I want to see how can we correct this thing, man. How can we stop these guys? These guys shouldn't be able to go into a suburb, a state over, Jimmy, and be able to do the exact same thing to us. No, Jimmy, it could have happened to you. It could have happened to me. Could have happened to my son. Could have happened to any one of our sons, man. We got to get smarter. We can't worry about what nobody else gonna do. We got to figure out what we gonna do. That's why I tell y'all to vote. Man, you got to vote. The lesser of two evils. Lesser of two evils, I'm not gonna curse today. But man, this stuff, if those guys were in fear, Jimmy, that man sat on that man's neck and said, if I do kill him, this how he look. If I do kill him, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I got the union. Unbelievable to me, man. Unbelievable, man. I'm sorry.
Now, at this point, either two things that, 3 points that many of you guys will be at right now. Either you're going to do something about it.
I'm doing something.
You ain't going to do nothing about it. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to stay undecided right now. Well, here's the deal. And in situations where most people out there, history has shown in recent history, ain't gonna do nothing about it.
We ain't worried about them. I don't care. I don't care about them.
So doing something about it, it takes things. And here's the thing. Here's what I want to relay to you guys. This is also a motive. If you didn't need a motive, to galvanize in some form or fashion. Galvanize. Galvanizing meaning with your friends, galvanizing your community, because you have to have an effort, and has to be what you're going to do. If it's isolated, then that means it ends with you. So it has to be galvanized in some form or fashion, because that means after you, in other words, for example, take a look at a lot of the, and I'm not saying for you to become a terrorist, but the terrorists, a lot of times the terrorists are sacrificing themselves, but it's also a unified mission, meaning after they commit suicide, the mission is still carried on, the next one and the next one. Here's the thing. For starters, one thing that you could do is you can call the district attorney's office, because charges still has not been presented against these 4 officers. I called twice this morning.
So did
One time, what happened when you called?
Talking about line was my line kept being busy. I had everybody call. Let me show you.
I got through, and then the person picked up the phone, and when they picked up the phone, you can hear the noise in the background. They took it off the receiver, hung it back down.
But I called the prosecutor's office, Jimmy. That might be the DA ringing off the hook. I got the number. I'm gonna post it somewhere. But we need to inundate them with calls, man. Let me show you something. The reason I said that, Jimmy. The reason I'm talking.
I know you want to give them and provide them a number. That way,
put it on the screen. I don't have it in my hand. It's in my other room.
612.
Huh?
612.
Okay.
348 5550. 612 348 5550. That's the number. That's one thing that you can do. Give you another piece of advice, and you guys watch how people do. Understand something. When you see the people with cameras in the aftermath, last night they had incidents in Minneapolis, so-called unrest that they label as riots. The people who are filming those, if you ever catch yourself in a situation where there's a riot or unrest going on, and it's just, if you're posting that on social media, that is ignorant. Because here's what you're doing. They have what they call facial recognition that we see on Facebook right now. You take a picture of me or you, and guess what? We put it up, it's gonna grab our images and tag us automatically if we allow it to do so. They had that same technology multiplied times 100 in the police office to go and tell who's in the crowd. So basically, you're giving up people before they even try to galvanize. Once again, if you catch yourself in that situation, I'm not saying don't film people, I'm talking about the uploading of it to public websites and letting people see other people doing things and doing stuff. And now, because people would get fired from their jobs just by standing up for their rights, because some people's jobs will say, man, I didn't know little John Doe was that radical. Oh, we don't want him working around here. But then now go on. I want to make sure I put it out there about the footage.
Anthony Weston, you know, I love you to death, but I don't need your mess today. Talking about what does calling help? You got to keep calling. First time they knock on the door, don't answer, you got to keep knocking. You got to inundate them with calls. You got to inundate them with calls. Call the governor then. The governor gonna answer. Can't stand these Negro naysayers. Always be on here with this mess. If you ain't part of the solution, just shut the hell up. But Jimmy, what I want to know, Jim, in our hands, one of the most powerful devices, you can communicate with millions with this device, man. That's what we don't understand. Jimmy, let me tell you something. Those calls matter. Those calls matter. That means somebody knows, somebody care about this brother. So don't get on here with that mess, man. Please don't. Not today. That's why I prayed about it today. Not today. Hey, I tell people, be real. Put the script away today. Put the script away. What if it was your son? Jimmy, in these times, I think somebody said, General Grant said, let me tell you something. Every time he won a battle, and they asked, what's the terms? He said, total surrender. When we win this battle, we want total surrender. We talking about black men. I keep people, they texting me talking about black men, I love it. Black men, I'm praying for you. Let me tell you something. It's a black woman named Breonna Taylor, 20 years old, 20-some years old. Young lady got shot in her own place. They went to the wrong house. Ahmaud Arbery. It's not just black men, man. It's black people. And the real COVID out here is racism. Black men have become an endangered species, Jimmy, in this nation. Even if you have a mask, it don't stop the corruption of those who got a badge. And what does action look like? That's what we got to find. What does action look like? We want solutions on here, man. If you know it all, Mr. Know-it-all, you know what the hell I'm talking to. If you know it all, what the hell you doing? Jimmy, I told you, it's going to be a touchy subject for me today, man, when you're killing my folk. Could have been you, Jimmy, could have been me.
Understand that as I mentioned earlier, I spoke with a couple of the police officers in Houston, and what I've learned is that there's different trainings around the country, and far as the placement of the knee. And down in HPD, in their trainings, the proper placement of the knee is above the shoulder blade. There are some people in New York City or in Minnesota, I don't know, I haven't confirmed what their training is, but the thing is, and I'll quote
Jimmy, forget the knee. Jimmy, the man say couldn't breathe. Get where you putting the knee at. The man say he couldn't breathe. I'm dying out here. The man called for a 46-year-old man calling for his mama.
What happened?
And you talk about procedures where you wherever
because the placement of the knee is expected, is with all probability contributed to the expediting of him making that comment and making those pleas, but probably the placing of that knee on the neck and not removing it. And even when there's a call for help like that, that's when a lot of officers are supposed to readjust, according to the police officer that I spoke with this morning. That's what they call supposed to readjust. He never readjusted. And then once again, you spoke of footage. There's another picture that has surfaced, not and I've heard some of the other pictures may have been photoshopped, may have not. Haven't confirmed, but there's another one that's floating. Haven't confirmed if that's photoshopped or not. But it appears to show from the opposite side of the street, at least two officers. One appears to be on a knee as well, on that opposite side of that car that you couldn't see from the video that went viral. And another one is bent over. You couldn't tell his hands, but he's not kneeling. So that means there's possibly as many as 3 officers that were in physical.
4 of them got fired, Jimmy. 4 of them got fired.
The fourth one got fired based on understand. You just cited the rule that was put in place back in 2016 in Minnesota. They had a rule that was voted in that if you are a bystander police officer witnessing a possible crime from a fellow officer and you don't do anything to interject or hinder it, then you can be fired. So that's the thing. So
Jimmy, there are laws out here, right? Hold up. We got to change the laws. This is all I want, because we got a special guest about to come on. We got to change the laws that are keeping these guys in place and safe and secured and not convicted. I repeat, we got to change the laws that are in place that keep these people secure, safe, and not convicted. That's all I want to say. Jimmy, we got when I tell you we got a special guest coming on this show today. Jimmy, I met this, just realized I met this young lady. Y'all got to realize last Women Rock Wednesday on Wednesday. Happy Women Rock Wednesday, everybody. You know, somebody just texted me and said, calm down. That's why I prayed before I came on the show, Ashton. Ashton, you can unmute yourself right now. But I prayed before I had to. This ain't for me. This ain't for you, Anthony Weston. That's how I live my life. This is how I built my empire. Let me explain something to you. This young lady, last Wednesday, I gave y'all just a brief black woman, University of Illinois. I did not realize I had a pre-existing relationship with this young lady. It's unbelievable. If you've been watching the show more than 2 years, she was at the 7-on-7 football camps. And I was attending. I think she probably was the only woman, especially the only woman on the field that I saw. But she was working so hard and she was so knowledgeable about not just, you know how some women just be out there? She was out there and she seemed like she's supposed to be out there with these young guys. She knew more about those young football players than I ever could. She forgot more than I would ever know about these young football players. And then I found out that was her. Ashton Washington. She got hired. Lovie Smith the coach for the Fighting Illini, he hired this young lady, and knowing what I know about her now, I see why he hired. So without further ado, Jimmy, if you want to, without further ado, I just want to bring in Ashton Washington. Welcome her to the Chop Shop today. What's up, young lady? We're proud of you. It's Women Rock Wednesday. You rock. You made history. Jimmy put a tweet out talking about history on the show. Tell us how you feel. Tell us what's going on in your life right now. Talk to us.
Well, first off, I want to say thank you to both of you for having me on the show. So thank you so much, because you already know I'm from Houston. This is home. But right now, I will say it hasn't hit me yet that I've made history. And history as in, the first African-American woman or the first woman in the history of the Illinois football program to be in this position, to be on a full-time coaching staff. So it hasn't hit me. I will say one thing, that when I took the position with Coach Lovie Smith or with Coach Smith, I didn't know I was making history. Right? I had no idea. Coach Smith never told me, like, hey, Ashton, when you take this position, you're going to make history in the Big Ten. You're going to make history at Illinois football. Like, I had no idea. The way I found out, it's going to be crazy, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you, because you already said it's Wednesday Wednesday for women. So here we go. So the way I found out, I was watching the Jeffersons with my mom. Ironic, I was watching the Jeffersons, but I was watching the Jeffersons, and I was sitting on the couch, and I said, Mom, I'm going to Google myself really quick. And, not being big-headed, but just Googling myself, because it was on Tuesday when everything went public. So I type in my name, and a Sports Illustrated article pops up, and it says, Ashton Washington, first female, and it just goes on. And I click it, and I start reading the article, right? I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, my goodness. I look at my mom. I said, Mom, what did we just get ourselves into? You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do? And she says, Ashton, we just keep going. Let's do it. But that's how I found out I made history.
Yeah.
Wow.
And your job title, once again, explain the function that encompasses your job title.
Okay. So with that job title, it's Director of High School Relations. The professional title would be assistant coach, Director of High School Relations. So that goes into the play with that coaching staff in the full-time role. And so with that, it says what it says, high school relations, key piece for recruiting, key piece for in-state recruiting, out of the state recruiting, just, building those relationships or enhancing those relationships that they already have with high school coaches. And, playing a factor in the recruiting calls with families. So meeting those moms, meeting those dads, uncles, grannies, it doesn't matter who it is, just someone that plays a big role in that recruit's life that we're trying to recruit to Illinois football. And for me personally, no one has gave me a to-do list like, saying, Ashton, you need to do this, this, and this is what you're going to do in this role. It's kind of like Coach Lovie threw me the keys to the car and just like, hey, go with it, run with it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what it's been for me. And my main focus just right now is, of course, it's always love for Texas high school football. That's where I started. That's where, my heart is. But I got to show some love to my new state. I got to wrap my arms around Illinois high school football and show them that Illinois football is there, that we care. And so my main thing is when I walk into Illinois high school football coaching, coach's office, I would love to see an Illinois or Illinois pencil, coffee mug, just something little to show that we're growing that culture that Coach Smith is trying to do and try to uphold at Illinois football.
Wow. Let me tell you something. I sit there and look at Ashton. I heard, and maybe you clear me up. One of your duties, you want to meet in your position the counselor at these high schools.
Of course. And that goes into play with meeting those high school coaches and building those relationships, those high school relations that goes into that title.
Okay. I just wanted, Jimmy, what you got?
Yeah. And so now, once again, the limitations for your job, because with your position, are you permitted to go on the road and recruit, or you have to do your communications, or you're basically enhancing the relations with the high school community around that area?
So that second part, what you said, so enhancing those relationships, or, bringing my own connections, not just in the state of Texas, right? So just being in the roles that I was during, high school football and 7-on-7, I built relationships. I told Coach Smith, from Hawaii all the way to Georgia, to Florida, to New Jersey. It doesn't matter where it is, Canada, wherever it is on North America platform, I got you. So that was kind of one of the biggest factors coming into that position, or even being able to get this position, was bringing those connections with me, bringing those relationships with me.
Ashton, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is what struck me about the article when I first read it. February the 4th, Lovie Smith, before you was hired, he said, one of the great men in this game of football, by the way, I've happened to be blessed to meet him before. One of these days, you're going to see a female walking through here too. Smith said in a February press conference, to me, if you're qualified, we're going to find you. If you're a great player, we're going to find you. We're going to mix a lot of different people together and let them do their job, and they're going to do it well. Now, and the reason I'm saying this, Illinois has 7 black assistant coaches, Jimmy, which is tops amongst Power 5 conference program. Illinois' strength and conditioning coach, Lou Hernandez, is the only Hispanic American with his job title in the Power 5 conference college football. Ashton, how do you feel being a part of this melting pot of creativity? And that man, hey, let me tell you something. That man didn't hire you because you're cute. He know if he went and looked at your resume, and you can run that down. I remember the first article you sent to me. You sent me an article on you. And I mean, you was on ESPN. You was the Houston Tillerson University liaison with ESPN. Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about you today. You feel me? And you got something in common. One of our interns, Nicole Hutchinson, she was the same kind of intern with ESPN from Howard University. So just tell me what it feels like to just be. Let me tell you something. It got to be. And have you been up there with this COVID-19? Have you had a chance to meet with the other staff or not yet? Have you?
So, I have met all staff. So we've been having meetings every other day, or every day, honestly.
I'm talking about in person.
I haven't met anyone in person.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I've never even been to Champaign, Illinois. So this is going to be just a journey of a lifetime. I've never been up there. So here we go.
It's nice. You're going to love it. It's going to get cold, though, but you're going to love it.
Oh, look, I said one thing. I said, Coach Smith, I'm going to need a coat. So if y'all got a big coat for me, I'm good to go, and I'm ready to work.
What you got, Jim?
Now, you mentioned the Texas and your fondness and your knowledge of the high school football scene in Texas. What many of them may not realize, while you're from H-Town, Houston Tillerson, which is located in Austin. It's an HBCU in Austin, Texas, in the shadows of University of Texas, like right down a few miles down the road. Down the actual street. And you also a lot of people may not know that you were behind the scenes in an integral part of one of the popular websites that cater to the high school football community in Texas. Tell us about that project that you work with.
Okay, so with that was the Old Coach. So it was a branch of 24/7 Sports, another recruiting platform for high school sports. And for the Old Coach, the main focus was, of course, Texas high school football. And you guys already know how big Texas high school football is. And, the rivalry between, Georgia high school football, Cali high school football, Florida, and so on. But just with that, it was a bunch of, again, a melting pot of young creatives. I think the youngest person on our staff was 15, and they were doing killer video content that ended up on SportsCenter Top 10 and ESPN segments. That's how much work we were putting into this. And it wasn't, charging anybody. We had no subscriptions. It was all for free. But again, it was just us building that brand of the old coach, building the brand of our own personal brands. And it was fun. It was something, for me, I, of course, singled it out to Texas high school football, but it gave me an opportunity, again, to grow those connections and those relationships with people across the nation. So, without that opportunity personally, and working with the old coach, I don't think I would have had as many built relationships that I have right now with people across the nation. So, that was something that was huge for me. So that, what I could say is thank you to our editor-in-chief, Nick Walters, for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of something so great.
And I'd like to add some, Ashley. Ashton, God, I don't keep saying Ashton. Ashton, you are responsible. It's a young friend of mine's daughter. You was a mentor to her, and you were responsible for this young lady. This young lady watched you on your social media platform. They were telling me the story about she watched how you I think about over 1 million followers on, or not followers, views on social media about the things you were posting within 1 year. She watched you, and now she's a part of your mentorship, and she looking up to you. She's a part of the 12th man of the Texas A&M Aggies program, and it's all because she looked up to you. How do you feel? You're a young woman, and you just didn't wait around. You like Kobe Bryant. You wanted to make an impact in your life while you were young, and you're impacting young women. And I hope some young women that's watching this show and asking, this show is on Facebook and YouTube live right now, all over the world. How does that feel, being so young and being in a position to influence other young people?
Um, it's a huge role for me, big time role. I'm taking it in, like I said before. And with that role, I like to say, yes, I made history as an African American woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's not just singly just for African American women. It's for all women.
Mm-hmm.
So how you just said, this is live across the globe. This is for women all across the globe, right? My favorite quote is by Maya Angelou, which is a legendary world famous poet. And her quote says, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And so that's me coming into this position under, legendary Coach Smith, big time role like this is I'm coming as one to Illinois, but I'm standing as 10,000 right behind me. And that goes back to say, even for my ancestors, that's who I'm standing for in this position. So that, for me, again, just being a mentor to others. And I don't know if I can say, give me some credit for comparing to Kobe Bryant. That is unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But just with that and being a mentor to, I have a lot of young mentees, I like to say.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing them grow and evolve in their own careers is a blessing to me. I love to see that. I like to say that, I can't give you the blueprint of what to do. And I can't give you, the check off list, but I can guide you and I can, kind of show you what helped me, what helped mold me, what helped shape me, what helped get me to the point of the place that I'm in now. So I like to say, everybody's journey is different again, but I can't give you a check off list of what to do. You got to be willing to go out there and get it.
The reason I compared you to Kobe, he's a young man who maximized his dash. And what I mean by dash, he was born, and that dash in between, and then when you die,
Yes.
you're maximizing your dash. He maximized his dash, that little slash in between. You're a young lady, you already having mentees, now it plural. It's some grown people twice your age hadn't mentored nobody. Nothing against them, but I'm just telling you, I love when I just sit there and looked at your history, your AKA. I'm just trying to figure out how you had time to do all this stuff. Mass communication. And then somebody gave me the ultimate compliment of you. They said, hold on, Rob. She got a great understanding for assessing talent. I said, whoa. It's a woman. He said, Robert, She got a great, not good, understanding for accessing or assessing talent. And I said, wow. So Lovie gets an administrator, a mass communication guy, a girl, a lady, a person, and a person that can, hold up, assess talent. Come on, girl. You're a triple threat.
Look, I'm a jack of all trades. Whatever you need, I got you. And I can do graphics, I can do video editing, I can scout players, I can talk. You can put me in any room. It don't matter where we are, no matter what demographic, I am ready. And it goes back again to that February 4th quote that Coach Smith said, if you're qualified, we will find you. And I told, in my first press conference, they said, how does it feel to be 23 in a big time role in the Big Ten, right? And you know what I said? I felt like Jackie Robinson, but I said, I feel prepared. I am qualified for this job, and I'm ready for it. So again, like how you said when I was on the field, it looked like I was supposed to be there. That's how I'm going in this position. I'm supposed to be here. So I'm just ready.
Jimmy, what you got?
Now, a lot of people may not know it. Also, this past year, you were working with the now defunct XFL football league in Houston. And explain us, what was your role? Well, you had a role, but then tell us what your role was, and also what it was going to be, through the rest of the season. I think there were 5 games in. You were the hottest team in the league, 5-0, if I'm not mistaken. So that means you were the hottest. You were the Beyonce of the XFL. Well, tell us about how that went.
Look, we were the Beyonce. We was making the Stallion. We were on savage mode, 5-0, baby. But with that, of course, we were looking for April 26. April 26 was our championship, and we knew we were going to be in the championship. Well, one, in my mindset, my Mamba mentality, I knew we were going to be in the championship. So we were looking forward to leaving with rings, doing our run across the field on national TV. But unfortunately, that didn't happen due to our circumstances and due to the pandemic. But for my role for the XFL, or the Houston Roughnecks, the best team in the league, I was the game day and business operations specialist. So what that pretty much means behind that long title is business operations on day-to-day actions leading up to game day. I was in the corporate office downtown. So we are operations is the backbone. So we are, where everyone comes to when things go wrong. So we are the ones with the solution. So even if we don't have a solution, we got to figure out a solution. So with that was the business part. And the game day part was the game day operations was game day, of course, what it says right there. And that was, I was doing functioning on the field during gameplay on TV, national coverage, off the field, so around the concourse area at TD-ECU Stadium, where University of Houston football plays, and then outside of that stadium, outside coverage, keeping things in check. So it was a lot of work on game days, but I love pressure. It was a good experience for me. Again, I like to say that the pandemic was a blessing in disguise. Yeah, I feel like if there was no pandemic, I don't know if I would be in this position, becoming a trailblazer or being a trailblazer and a pioneer and making history right now at the age of 23. Yes, I would say it would have came within my life, just kind of how my mindset is, but not right now. So this pandemic was, God saying something to me.
I got a question for you. You got to hear me. Why
Okay.
you? How did Lovie? How did this happen? How did this happen? Take us through it.
Okay. First off, I love that question.
Uh-huh.
I will say this. I had never met Lovie Smith. Coach Lovie Smith, never met him. Never met him in person. I've only seen videos of him. I've only seen him coaching on Twitter, on, YouTube, different things like that. And so for me to meet someone so legendary like Coach Smith was just unreal. The way, that kind of happened was I was very, very close friends. I was a mentee this time to my mentor, Coach Joe Price. Coach Joe Price used to coach at North Shore here in Houston. And with us, I met him, during that high school football recruiting, prospect or working with the old coach for me. And so met him, just built another relationship with him. And I never knew he was taking a job at Illinois. So, he ended up taking that job up at Illinois after the state championship. And from there, again, just kept that relationship going. From there, Coach Price introduced me to the director of recruiting, which is now my right-hand man at Illinois, Patrick Embleton. Introduced me to him, started connecting with Patrick, not off of, Patrick, I need a job, Joe Price, I need a job. It was more of just, like, this is what I'm doing. I enjoy what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. You can pay me $5 a day to do what I'm doing, and I do it. And so, just building off those two relationships. So when it came to the phone call or the Zoom call with Coach Smith said the first, as soon as he got on the Zoom call, it was just me and him one-on-one. He said, this call didn't just happen, right? He said, this call happened through God. And when he said that, I sat back and I just thought in my head, I didn't tell him this, but I was like, I want to work for this man. Wow. And so I kept him on the edge. Like I said, I didn't tell him that. I kept him on edge. And he, goes in to say from that conversation, my staff over the past 6 to 8 months, we would talk, and at the end of every conversation, your name would always come up in conversation. And so, me, I'm like, wow. I've resonated such a good impression on others in a way that, they were willing to speak on behalf of their own professional careers to Coach Lovie Smith about myself. And so from there, the last thing Coach Smith said was, what does it take for Illinois football to get Ashton Washington in the building? And from there, it was a wrap. I thought about my decision on making this decision and being under somebody like Coach Smith. And me, just with him, I'm a mentee to him. He's a mentor to me. It's like having a second dad. That's how down to earth he is.
Yes.
So it's pretty big time, but that's kind of how that transition into this into this program, into this position happened, was through Coach Joe Price and Patrick Embleton.
Great story. Jim?
Yeah, now your relationship, I was going to bring up the relationship with with North Shore High School indirectly, and that is with Joe Price. That's junior, guys. That's not senior. The dad. That's the son, who was, I think, one of the defensive coaches at North Shore High School a couple of years ago, before getting thrust into the college ranks. And Joe Price, his father, the legendary retired Joe Price Sr., who was the head coach back at Smiley High School back in the days, and I think Port Arthur, and then also North Shore High School, of just among 3 of the gigs he's had. So now, in your term, take us back to your high school. Covering the high school scene, the North Shore versus Katy rivalry. Take us behind the scenes of that rivalry, because you were, by working with the old coach, and that's a network that has a message board and everything else, basically as a connector to a lot of the high school, helps them get jobs and they post jobs. What was the atmosphere like in that rivalry, North Shore versus Katy?
The atmosphere, of course, was just like the atmosphere with Duncanville versus North Shore, right? It was just a good rivalry. But when it came down to playing time, it was go time. But outside of that, I will say one thing. This is most coaches don't know, is that all these athletes are very, very close. Off the field, they're close. So it doesn't matter what school they're going to, they are close. They can play on 7-on-7 teams together, and that was a big thing. So that's something that made the rivalry even bigger, because they played together all through the summer, and now it's time to go head and head, and I know exactly what you're gonna do coming off the line of scrimmage. So that was the best part. But overall, just with the coaches and that coaching rivalry was more of learning for each coach. So it's kind of like how college football is. Yes, we are all in different programs, all in different conferences. But when it comes down to learning and, going to these coaching events, we're all coming together as one. So that was the best part about it.
Indeed. Now,
I got one.
What you got?
I saw. Girl, I look through your stuff. Look through your line.
What have
growing up, you say you didn't even like football.
Oh, yes. Look, that's when the truth comes out.
Tell us about that. I'm going to pick it up. Tell us about that. You didn't like it?
Okay, I will say this. Again, it goes back to my brother. He signed to Penn State this past December, so
Bad
we are in
man.
the same conference
Bad man.
under James Franklin, which is a wonderful and another legendary coach. Coach Franklin is. Um, and just with that, having my dad as his little league coach. And all my life, I've been around football, whether it's around my dad, cousins, anything. It's just football, football, football. And so just with that, being 10 or 11, a little girl being forced to go to every game, practice, workout, everything, you get tired and you want to stay home and you want to play with your Barbies and things like that. So me, I would talk back and try to get in trouble and try not to, go. But of course, it just didn't work out. It didn't work out the way I wanted. And I'm very religious. So one thing my granny, which is another mentor in my life, she always says that, when you start making plans, that's when God laughs at you. And so I bet God is having a ball right now because look where I am. In football, in one circle.
Jimmy, what you got? This is a good time, Jimmy,
Now you,
to share
yeah,
the show, Jimmy. You can
this
yeah.
is definitely indeed is a good time. If you guys we're streaming simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook. I want to ask you guys on YouTube, take out the time to give us a thumbs up if you are watching and you're enjoying the conversation with Miss Ashton Washington of the University of Illinois football, and also if you're watching via Facebook, do take out the time and share the show right now.
Yes.
And because that way the footprint of this broadcast can reach, and somebody may notice or understand these are stars of the future, not necessarily on the court or on the field, but as well as off the field. And she's related. This is a coach. She's a men's NCAA assistant coach in the Big Ten, and it hadn't resonated or soaked into the souls of some of you guys who are watching right now. This is she's not the water boy. She's not the medical trainer. She's not
the secretary
of basketball of football operations. Mm-hmm. She's not in the SID. She's an assistant coach, and that has a function that is to enhance the relationships with a lot of the high schools and not only in the surrounding area of Champaign, Illinois, but around the country. So now when do you expect to arrive at school, at work in Illinois?
As of now, everybody is scattered across the nation. So like me and my brother, we're still here, it goes back to play with Penn State, but everybody's still scattered. So right now there's no expected time as of now for myself. So that's going to probably come in the next couple of weeks because I know NCAA just passed, the rule about having student athletes voluntarily, go back to campus if they want to. So it'll be coming in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. And then again, you remember, it's my first time up in Illinois, so we're going to see how this goes.
So you all right now in the summer? Oh, you're going to love the place until the almighty Hawk come in the winter. What you got, Jim?
Now, it's being a female, once again, you mentioned you worked when your job with the Houston Roughnecks in the XFL, that was pretty much away from the team. You were in your own, different whole fraternity. With your job now, you're traveling with the team, or you basically staying back when they're on the road?
So right now, I haven't got any.
She just froze up a second.
Yeah, and of course, you're just tuning in. Ashton Washington, she's an assistant coach.
Back. She's back. Ash,
yeah,
you just froze up. Your internet froze up a minute. Say what you asked the question again.
For people that did not get it, that way you answered from the top. And I was asking you, will you be traveling with the team, or will you be basically based on campus and remote?
So as of now, I've got the message that I would be basically, on campus or, remote wise. I haven't got the message of I will be traveling yet, which is okay with me. So that only means that you got to get to Illinois to see me. So you know what I mean? So that's the best part. So so I feel like that's more of a help with that on-campus recruiting piece. So that shows me that, you're serious about Illinois football, that you came all the way up here. I'm going to say not just to see me, but to see our facilities.
So now during the season, practices, do you know or not if you are obligated to be at practice every day, or should you, or not, or you don't know yet?
So knowing me, and look, I'm going to have to tell Coach Smith, but he probably already knows, I'm going to be at every practice. Whether it's 4 a.m., whether it is all night long, I will be at every practice. And of course, taking the safety precautions with mask, if that's reiterated from our athletic director, but I will be at every practice.
Okay. All right.
That's a great thing. And now, what advice do you have for the young college student, the parent, the relative that are out here watching, and your journey to where you are right now, your resume? And once again, for guys that just tune in, remember 3 weeks ago, we introduced you guys physically to a lot, or virtually to a lot of the former interns from the Chop Shop, the females. And you guys got to meet them, got to hear them talk, got to see what they're doing now. Well, this young lady is the intern that we actually had hired, but could not come because of the remoteness at the time. And she was based in Austin at Houston-Tillerson. And so the logistics just didn't work. But we had picked them. So understand, the Chop Shop.
Oh, I had her in my sights. I said, Jimmy, we got to get her. I really want her to show, because Jimmy, if you had a watch, y'all got to realize this girl just went out there and she had a camera, she went out there and took charge of this, and I'm going to tell you, Ashton, I didn't know the full scope on what you were doing, because I never seen a woman doing what you were doing. So you was a unicorn. They used that word unicorn to me. So, but when I found out it was you, it was just crazy that the seed that we planted, and you text me back. You said you kept my text. Of course, I kept your text. I always keep important people's texts. And and now, guess what? I kept the text of a young lady who's made history. She might not say it, but let me tell you something. I understand that position you walking into. Just by me being in sports and being in this industry for so long, I'm proud of you. You're a trailblazer, and I know you're gonna plant some seeds for some young women, whatever race, to be able to come behind you. And you got awesome responsibility. Because guess what? Like you said, you're blazing the trail. So unbelievable. I'm so proud of you. But Jimmy, what else you got, Jim?
Well, we got a question from one of the viewers, and Trey asked, could you ask Ashton, how has the voluntary workouts, how does they work from what you understand? I know you haven't arrived to campus yet, but he may not have got that earlier. But from what you understand, how will they work when they do? Because some dorms based on campuses are closed, some are open. How will they work voluntary workouts work at Illinois?
So for us, Illinois football, it's a lot of precautions. It's going to be a lot of rules set in place, but that's just for the safety of our players and our staff, right? So right now, there's a dorm that's kind of just for Illinois football and those returning athletes coming back that are voluntary coming back. And so with that, of course, they're going to go through a lot of testing. They're going to go through a lot of scanning processes, taking their blood, making sure everything's okay, checking their temperature, seeing, if they've had COVID-19 before in the past, previous 3 to 4 months, and they just didn't know. So there's a lot of precautions set for that. We are actually sending an Illinois mask to cover their mouths and noses, and a personal thing of hand sanitizer and a water bottle to their houses now, making sure that's all sent out to our players that are returning back. So we're taking a lot of precautions for that. And then for far as working out with Coach Lou, It would be they're trying to break it up where it's, either you're coming in by yourself or you're coming in with a roommate that you're staying with. So we want to keep them with with the person that they're staying with or around the most as much as possible, just to keep stuff from spreading from already, that's already happened. So those are going to be the precautions as of now that I know. And then, of course, every day it's changing. It's all up in the air. It's all changing from here and there. Far as just in Illinois football and the Big Ten, it's changing a lot because, we're still trying to figure out, from our government, what are we going to do about this COVID-19 or about, vaccinations and things like that. But that's what we're doing. There's a couple steps of what we're doing.
Now, how's Coach Price been? Of course, that's your guy. And what is his role on the staff now? What position coach is he now?
So Coach Price, he's actually back in Texas. So he's back home. He's with UTSA, and he's the director of player personnel there. So role grew and excelled, and again, he's back home. But he is always a mentor to me. He's been checking on me. He's been texting me, making sure everything's okay, asking me, you got any questions, you need any help. But not just, Coach Price, but I would say all coaches across the entire college football atmosphere. I got a message from one of the coaches at LSU, if you have any questions, let us know. We're always here. So it's a lot of coaches that are reaching out to me that are all, got my back. So that's a good feeling.
It's unbelievable. I can't wait. Guess what? Now I got to cheer for, I always cheer for Lovie. And because I thought he got a raw deal in the NFL. But think about it. If he'd have been in the NFL, he probably wouldn't been in this position to be able to hire you. Maybe he could have hired you for the NFL. And that's another question. Would you like, since you dabble over in the XFL, at some point would you like to go around the corner on Fannin and Kirby and work for that organization, the Texans?
You want to know something? I might sound crazy, but I don't ever think I'll leave college football. I love college football. And this is the second week on the job. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's like a dream come true. And I think the part that I love about it the most is that it's not sides of, you know what I mean? It's not the corporate side, not a business side. We're all one. So every staff meeting that we're having, Coach Smith is on there, and it follows so on. So that's the best part, and just being a part of someone's life. You're actually, whether you recruit them or not, or whether they sign to you or not, you're changing lives along the way, and that's the best part about this job.
How many players from Texas are on the Illinois roster in football?
Oh, so I don't know. As of now, I don't know the exact number, but there are a couple. And for us, that's one of our main demographics of recruiting is Texas. So just bringing me up there, it's going to be a little bit different. It might add a little bit more numbers just by the looks of what I'm seeing on Twitter. And, people saying, Liddyville is lit again. So it's going to be a different culture. But of course, like I said before, trying to get and show love to the state of Illinois, show them that we are there before venturing outside of the state, right? In state first. Okay.
Yeah, and now they got a pretty good basketball program. So,
yes.
So you're gonna be able to support that. It's just, I'm proud of you. Now, do me a favor. We got people out here, okay? You, like Jimmy said to the parents, we have parents, that you can't. I know certain things you can't say, but I just want in this recruiting and in this. Not just the pandemic. It's just college basketball. Like Jimmy was telling me, college basketball, college football is grimy. The recruiting process. Jimmy says it's cutthroat and it's dirty. You got a lot of contacts here in Texas. But what if Texas flexed their muscles and they puff fund of some guys that you want to go? Or A&M, they get it back. Excuse me. They flex their muscle. Tell me because I know you're going to be recruiting against some of these guys. I know you're not just going to sit back because I know the contacts you got here in the state. and I know some people that ride or die with you. So I'm just trying to say how you foresee handling big time recruiting, big time college recruiting now.
So, my main thing is I can't make any promises, right?
Uh-huh.
I can't make promises to Coach Lovie Smith. I can't make promises to anyone on our staff.
Uh-huh.
I can't say this is going to happen. I'm going to get this person. I'm going to get this person. And, they're going to come up here and they're going to sign us. They're going to commit to us, right? I can't do that.
Right.
All I can do is, one, be authentic, be genuine, and fight to the very end. And that goes into our hashtag join the fight. I can fight to the very end to get you. But it goes back to my brother, the main thing for his recruiting process, right? It wasn't like, hey, Parker, you're going to Penn State and that's where you're going to go and you're going to play under Coach James Franklin. It was more of, whatever feels like home or whatever feels right and you feel like this is the place for you, that's the place for you. That's where you should go because you're going to be the one up there spending 3 years, if given the opportunity, or 4 years, right? Not Ashton, not me, not Big Sis. You're going to be up there spending those years up there with Coach Franklin. So you better like your, position coach, and you better like everyone on staff in that university. So that's going to be my main thing, just going against, top big dogs like that in the game is I just got to fight to the very end and just be myself. Show these kids what, our program is all about. Show them what Coach Smith is bringing to the table and show them that, the innovativeness and culture or new culture or enhanced culture that, Coach Smith has reiterated to me. So like I said, that's all I can do, be authentic and genuine. And then, just keep working to the end. You already know how I am. You already said it before, that mindset,
You know what's so funny?
I'm going to fight to the very end. So I don't think I'm going to give up.
You've been reading my notes because that's one of my mantras on this show and about me and Jimmy. We're authentic, original, and daring. And I know that's what you have to be in this business. We bring you on the show. I told you on the show before you come on, you like we're in the barbershop. It's not no regular. It's not a regular interview. We just, most people like Penny Hardaway called me back the other day. We interviewed him. Well, we didn't interview him. We just communicated life with him. And he said, man, I like that. I like that, man. All the shows I've been to, y'all made me feel more comfortable. And guess what? These people in Houston and all over the world got to see you in a light that, let me tell you something, Ashton, I haven't seen this you in print or on video yet. I just haven't seen you. And I searched. So now you got another base. You got you got more content for people to know who and exactly who you are. So, but I thank you for coming, Jimmy. You wanna have a parting shot with her because we don't want to keep all day. She got stuff to do.
Done a great job, and we'll be following you along this lap of your marathon. Congratulations and all from Houston, and we'll get you back on the air once you get acclimated to the program and the season gets to rolling, just to get an update to how things are going. And that way we'll get the chance to see you with one of your bear coats on with the Eskimo stuff around the neck and all that stuff right there. So, but once again, Ashton,
Jimmy, Yvette, who actually hooked this up, Yvette Machete, who actually hooked this up. I cannot get off this air without telling. She offered to. You got to understand, Yvette from Minnesota, where the uprising is from. She used to big coach. So Ashton, you got probably a lot of big coats coming from her, winter coach coming from Yvette. So Jimmy, let's get us out of here.
That's pretty much it. Once again, thanks so much, Ashton.
Hold on. Let me get Ashton some. Hold on. That was for you.
I'm going to say something before we leave.
Okay, come on.
Look, thank you for having me, of course. But I just really want to take a moment of silence for George Floyd and his family. If we could please do that before off air. And then, of course, after that silence, I would love to leave you a quote by Malcolm X. And thank you again for having me on the show. And so the quote that I tweeted last night after seeing everything was by Malcolm X. Again, I have it right here on Twitter, but it says, basically the gist of it is, don't be so blind behind patriotism, right? Because wrong is wrong no matter who does it or says it. And by the great brother of Malcolm X. And I actually made history on his birthday, May 19th. So again, thank you for having me on the show, and thank you to everybody that's viewing out there. So let's do it. Illinois football, baby. Thank you.
You're all right. All right. See you later. I got you.
Bye, y'all.
All right.
Great.
Okay.
Bye-bye. And of course, guys, that is
Wow, that was amazing.
And
amazing.
She is going big places. And you guys definitely, that's a name
Jimmy.
to remember. And
Jimmy, you remember when I told I sent out a verdict about edict. I said, man, we got to get used to us being successful. We got to get used to people around us being successful, our young people around you. Say, let me tell you something. I didn't know it was going to be her, but I knew this stuff. We got to get used to this, y'all. We got to get used to this. We can't get mad at somebody else for killing us if we still killing ourselves. Let me repeat that. We can't get mad. We got to get better as an example. So Jimmy, hey, let me tell you something. That was the best. That girl got my heart just racing right now with so many possibilities for young women to understand, okay, I didn't have to play this sport in high school, but I know enough. Jimmy, the old thing is, well, he didn't play. What they tell you, Jimmy, you played baseball. You don't know nothing about no basketball. She ain't never played no high school football. She ain't never played no college football. But guess what? Let me tell y'all something. When that person told me that, I wrote it down. That person said, that girl she understand. They say that she got a great understanding for assessing talent. And since it's Women Rock Wednesday, let me get a women something right quick, Jimmy. Jimmy, last night, what's up, Kelton and Sonya? Last night, Sonya, I happened to be on a Facebook Live, and I sent it out to people a little bit. I didn't send it out. I think I shared it with Cheryl Cobb, the author of 10 Dirty Little Secrets, and she was on the show with Sparkle, the artist Sparkle. Jimmy used to be on the, R. Kelly's label. The young girl that R. Kelly was in the video, allegedly in the video with, was Sparkle's niece. And they had a hot let me tell you something. Go back, 10 Dirty Little Secrets. Go try to find it, Cheryl Cobb. And the women is on. And then, Jimmy, they left Facebook and went to Instagram and finished it up. There's some things on there that y'all really might. I haven't seen Instagram yet, but I've heard there's some stuff on there that you really haven't heard from no publications about R. Kelly. Got to remember, Sparkle was R. Kelly's on his record label, Rockland Records. Cheryl was the president of that company, and their dynamics. I mean, they were going back and forth on it. It's unbelievable. So I just wanted to share that with the ladies since it's Women Rock Wednesday. I just wanted to share that with y'all. And Jimmy, I thought about something, and I was laughing that, I happen to have met Robert before, and I'm going to tell you, Robert Kelly, I met him several times before. That guy that I'm seeing that these people talk about, I promise you, I didn't see. So, not having a hard time, because I believe these women. I don't think these women would, but I just never saw that in the time that I met him and being around him. I never saw that monster. And I just wanted to share that. So, Jimmy, what else you got? What else you got today, man?
Well, we got what we do is we take out the time, Women Rock Wednesday, open up the phone lines for you guys on the Chop Shop. That's 832-264-1500. 832-264-1500. We open up the phone lines for you guys. You guys can call in and share your thoughts. Central Park, Minneapolis, Minnesota, whatever your thoughts may be. Let's have it and take it on in. You guys know that also we have something for you guys. I want to remind you that take a quick look at the George McClellan Invitational. The GMI will take place July the 9th through the 12th. That's the annual basketball event, youth basketball event, will take place with a stringent of COVID-19 stipulations
I
in
see
the
that.
program.
Compliant.
So,
It's
that's the
COVID-19.
flyer right there.
Yeah.
Uh,
I see it on the screen. It's a
yeah,
COVID-19 compliant event. I like
yes.
that.
And that's in once again July the 9th through the 12th. That event will take place. And shout out to the Harris County Sheriff Department. Marjorie Taylor
Yes.
is director of the George McClellan Foundation, and which once again, 100% of the net revenue from this event is going towards scholarships that we annually give away. We're going to probably give away more next year, and that would be for the Houston Area Basketball Coaches Association at their annual All-Star games in 2021. Also, we're not sure if we're going to do, because a lot of the proceeds also go towards the funding of the back to school drive, but we're not sure about that because that's in limbo because of COVID-19 precautions to have a back to school drive in the same capacity as we've done for the past decade or so. So just stay tuned. We'll keep you guys posted on that. But once again, the GMI will take place July the 9th through the 12th. For more info, you can go to the George McClellan website, which is the GMF Cares, CARES.com, GMFcares.com, or you have some other information, you go to RCSsports.com, and you can indeed be able to follow and reserve a spot and whatnot. And the question is that people ask, how what you got?
I got a video. It's about 2 minutes long that touched me a little bit yesterday. Emmanuel Acho, football player, and I love to hear when the athletes stand up for this kind of thing. But if you can talk about that, but I just wanted to show this, and he was talking about the situation with George Floyd, and it's a very touching video. If you want to go with that comment first, we can, and I'll play the video afterwards. Whichever.
Well, explaining to people, a lot of people are concerned about why and if events are going to take place for youth sports. And my thing is that, and that's one of the things that you guys understand something. And I'm paying attention. It seems like the energy is a double-edged sword. If the event is operated by an African American, it certainly does seem that publicly, the criticism is sharper than for the event operators that are white. And people say, "Oh,
sure?
I'm
It's
sure."
just you in the black community and you hearing it.
Well, it's like this, because understand, if I'm following you on social media and I'm watching what you comment on, and you're commenting on this event, but you're not commenting on that event, that means that the criticism is not the same. And you look around the room, the criticism publicly is not the same. And I don't expect it to be. But the thing is, when the criticism comes from us, and then in the same breath, us will come back to us to ask for some help in helping them galvanize. And what should we do? Let's get together. Now there's another guy that got killed. Another guy that went to jail. Another person that had to need help on a funeral. Then now you're not thinking about all of that beforehand. We have to do better at thinking and planning things out. They had somebody ask the question, and they had a comment on social media earlier today, Adam.
Let's talk about
said it's funny how a lot of times you might see white nationalist public gatherings, in different towns, different cities, and they'll march and peaceful march. Then if 4 or 5 black kids that's gang members stand up on a corner, then they'll be rustled up. And understand the difference is, this is the little things that we just don't teach each other. Those Klansmen, when they're doing their marches, they have put a request in writing to have that gathering. When we going on the corner and hanging together at the car wash, that ain't a peaceful gathering. We're hanging out. They're getting permission from the city, which you have a right to do so. We just don't understand. And we don't want to understand until it's too late. That's what they ain't.
We just need to be educated on it. It's okay, but I just want y'all. I want to share this with y'all because I just want to share it with you. It kind of touched me.
I feel sick. I feel guilty, and I feel confused. I'm sick because we've once again witnessed the murder of a black man at the hands of a police officer. Again. We're tired. We have no more tears to cry. We have no more characters to tweet. I feel confused because I don't know if there's anything we can do. We're still going to fight, and when we're still going to express our pain and our anguish in hopes that someone listens. But my black brothers and sisters, we're confused. And I personally feel guilty because a part of me realizes, and I'm a sports analyst. These people don't want to see me tweeting about anything racial. Anytime I put out a tweet, they're just going to roll their eyes and keep scrolling. But my life would be wasted if all I ever did was debate Jordan and LeBron and who's better. If all I ever did was break down a cover 2 defense and what that means. Because all of that stuff means nothing. It actually means nothing when people are unnecessarily dying. My white brothers and sisters, we need y'all's help. Ben Franklin said it best. Justice cannot be served until those who were unaffected are as outraged as those who were affected. We, my black brothers and sisters, have been outraged, but it's not enough. The energy was there, my sports fans, when Myles Garrett seemingly swung his helmet at Mason Rudolph and nearly killed a man. The tweets were there and the energy was there. But where is that same energy when a police officer actually did kill a man in George Floyd? Where is that same energy? Because we, my black brothers and sisters, we don't have any more tears to cry. And we're tired. So we desperately need y'all's help.
That's why I had to play that, y'all. That touched me. That touched me this morning, and you know, that's it. Phone lines are open: 832-264-1500. You just got to get smart, man. This stuff. But we do need the people on the other side, and we do need white people to step up. Your white friends, and Joaquin Phoenix. When he won the Oscar, you know, he said, "Yeah, I won it." He said, "But it ain't gonna get good enough until I speak up about the injustices, about the Academy and how they're treating African Americans and how they're treating it and more." Everybody needs to step up if they feel it's wrong. You know, if they don't feel what happened yesterday was wrong, dude, something got to be wrong. Something got to be wrong with them. So, but hey, Jimmy. So, oh, boy, look at that. Somebody in the car. Wow. Right on key.
Yeah, right on key. And welcome to the Chop Shop. What city you calling from?
Houston, Texas. This is Dr. Newsom.
All right.
Hey, Doc.
Dr. Newsom. What's going on?
It's going good. I tell you, the Chop Shop, I tell you, it's off the hood. I really appreciate y'all. You all are doing a great work for the community. And really worldwide, you all are affecting people. And I sure do appreciate you all. I just like to say something to my pastor brothers, if you don't mind.
Go do it, Coach.
This is what bothers me, and it really bothers me. Now the church. I'm not racist. I am not. pastors and all different other races of pastors. And I just don't see the leaders. I don't see the leaders standing up and speaking out against injustice and with the platform that they have. I see you and Hatter doing it on the shop, and that's very appreciative. But you have the church has a platform, and I don't see any of the leaders, the pastors. There's pastors that are on TV. I'm telling you, they have more. They have more. What's the word I'm looking for? No, not following. They can put a lot of energy into asking for money. Oh, they are big on TV for a whole hour. But when they see injustice, they will not speak up, and that bothers me. I mean, the church is made up of more than just black pastors. Even some of the black pastors who have the platform to say something, they're not saying anything, and I believe that's wicked. That's wicked, and that's evil. We don't have the platform just to teach the word, but we need to stand up against injustice also. Jesus stood up against injustice, but it acts like they're more bold when it comes to begging for money for a whole hour, but they don't want to speak against injustice. And I just want to let you and Hatter know that the Newsom family, we appreciate you all. Matter of fact, I have church members that keep up with you all. We all appreciate you all because you all tackle the tough topics. And we all appreciate you all for that. Someone has to speak up. I mean, and you all speak about relevant topics. Thank you, sir. That's my wife is speaking with. You all speak about relevant topics. I mean, and we really appreciate you all, and thank you for allowing me to speak on this subject. It really bothers me. I've been a pastor for 22 years, and I've been seeing this over and over and over again. We see ministers, I can't even listen to them anymore. Every time I turn around, you're begging for money. You're begging for money. You'd rather speak on beg for money for a whole hour, but when you see cops need on the neck of stuff, I don't care what color you are, black, white, but it's happening to the black people.
Yeah.
And you won't stand up. I don't understand that.
Well, Mr.
Newsom,
Mr. Newsom, and thanks a bunch for the call and the comments.
Guy.
And the question is this: any of those, first and foremost, is twofold question. One is, what are you going to do about it? Number two, have you, and this is what, and have you contacted any of those said churches or ministers to ask if they are doing anything about it? And if whatever your answer for the first question is, then why not channel it towards that second question? If they don't answer properly, I mean, you can take the efforts and get something done and ignite something. Remember, that's what I said earlier. And you might have, and I don't know if you watched the show at the top, I mentioned about the galvanizing in some form or fashion. That's one form of galvanizing. That means taking your efforts and collaborating with somebody else's platform or efforts and blasting off to a common goal. So that's the thing that I'm going to ask that you do, trying to do and wanting to do something. But then some people may think, I can't, think about it. All eggs don't hatch on the same day.
right.
So that means some people, the next person might have swung with all of his might after Orlando. Another person might have swung with all of their might after Ferguson. Another person might, I'm just saying, and say, afterwards you say, man, I done swum all tapped out. Man, I done tried, I done fought. Didn't nobody want to come with me. Didn't nobody want to fight this fight with me. Remember, all eggs don't hatch on the same day. And that's the thing I do know. So it just that you can't, it's like we mentioned earlier about, we provided a phone number to the district attorney's office up in Minnesota. And somebody said, well, I called and the line was busy. Hell, I called, the line was busy too. I didn't say it on the show. I called again. And then I called again. Then they answered the phone and they put the receiver back down.
But you got to keep calling.
But that's the whole thing. I tell you what, and I leave you guys understand something. Back when I grew up back in the days, I don't know what age you came up in, Mr. Newsom, but that would be at nighttime in Houston. Adam, we had a guy at nighttime between like 8 and 12 or 8 and 10, they played the slow jam. 9 o'clock at night, that's when the slow jams came on. And during that time, you had your cassette ready. You had your 2 fingers on the cassette tape, just like this, Adam, like that. And play and record, you got to push them at the same time. And your song came on, and you got that first note in right to click it down and hit them at the same. Guess what? You knew you had a good tape coming. Well, my thing is, during that time, they would say, call in with your requests.
Yeah.
Back then, the radio station didn't have 10 phone lines back then in those early 80s. And they said,
Jim,
what would happen if you call that radio station out? That line busy.
Yeah, but we know that was going to happen because so many calls are inundated. But you know what? I was just thinking about y'all. Y'all, under this quarantine, y'all.
Well, thanks so much, Mr. Newsom.
Thank you, Coach. Mr. Newsom. I want you to listen to this, though, Mr. Newsom, when you on your thing. Let me tell you something. Under this quarantine, we got to get creative. It's a lot of things like marching. You got to march with your mask on, and you got to practice social distancing. Go there. I mean, we got to get creative, man. But we got to. Let me tell you something. And Jimmy, until those laws are changed, they keep those police officers safe and secured and unconvicted. Man, we're gonna have. Let me tell y'all something now. And we talking about what we can do. Jimmy, guess what we got coming up? We got an election coming up. And nobody should be entertained. When I said nobody should be entertained, whether they got a black pass or not, until they're able to speak on this platform, what we talking about the aggressive behavior towards black people in this country. Nobody, we got an election. Anybody who you trying to vote for, this is your main mandate to them. You know, we got them people talking about they gonna vote for this. They listen to me, I'm trying to help you. We got an election coming up. Nobody should, I'm going to repeat it, should not be entertained whether they got a black pass or not until they're able to speak on this platform, man, about this aggressive behavior towards our people, man. I want to challenge the black churches. We have to go back to the original intention for what the church exists. This is a must. We got to become active. Jimmy, I'm not asking you to become a social leader. That's not that. We got some of them. But I do want you to become a community leader. Get your community together. The police that control your community. Because the community is your church. You know, I don't care who don't believe it. But I've seen, it's a Baptist preacher from Atlanta, Georgia, named Martin Luther King. He didn't go to no big city and start at Jimmy. Montgomery, Alabama wasn't no big city. You know, we got people in rural areas. It's talking about what can we do? Montgomery, Alabama, you know about it now because about the boycotts. Y'all, we got the, see, our preachers, I love y'all. But let's not get so excited about the doors opening up that we forget about what's on the outside. That's my plea to you. That's my plea. Election coming up, man. All you people talking about, I ain't gonna vote for him. Well, just get the hell out the country. You don't want to vote? Get the hell out. You don't want to vote? People died for you to vote, man. Man, find somebody. And Jimmy, enough of us is sick and tired of this stuff. Jimmy, come on, man. Come on, man. Them guys know, Jimmy, if I knew I can get away with it, you're probably going to do it. if I know I can go and just speed and ain't no police gonna stop me, I'm gonna do it. I'm just trying to give y'all practical stuff you can use. You got control. You just don't think you have. Somebody that told you to lie that your vote don't count. I was you, I wouldn't. Them ain't the kind of friends I want around me no more. I'm just telling. Cause take it from a guy who know your vote count. What you got, Jimmy, man? You know, Jimmy, I told you, you know that's Jimmy, I tell people, hey.
Speaking of the voting thing, I mean, one of the things I like to do is I like always with fractions, I like to try to simplify the fraction to 1/2, and especially if you're dealing with an even number as a denominator. And here's the thing: while a lot of you guys are at home and have kids who play youth sports and they're at home, for those of you, especially that have the sons or daughters whom are 17, 18 years old, rising 12th graders, or on their way to college as freshmen, this is the perfect time for you to influence them to register to vote. And I can't tell you or make you vote for or whom to vote for, but just the thought of just getting somebody and taking them there and make themselves eligible. Once you become eligible, to get that out the way, and then everything else, when it can fall right into place. So what I'm going to do is I'm just posting the link. That way you can just copy it and paste and put it in your email box or put it in your cell phone and send it to somebody today that could use the link. And that's all you got to do. Register to vote. I just posted on the Facebook feed. I'll probably post another one on you guys on YouTube. Don't panic. I'll get you guys covered in a second. But that's the thing. There are so many 17, 18-year-olds, and we can root and we can cite all this in root form, but then when it comes to taking care of business, we don't prepare, we don't do enough collectively. We at a consistent level, that's the key, to prepare these student athletes to take care of business. That's the thing, because at some point in time, they're all going to be required.
We preparing the student athletes, but we got to vote too. And some of us are registered and not voting. It's a lot, Jimmy. I forgot the figure. It was so many registered voters that just didn't even vote. We got to exercise it. We can register them. Jimmy, it was a record amount of registered voters that just did not vote.
But it also was a record amount of people who voted.
Yeah, but
yes.
But we ain't talking about that. I'm talking about we could have got over the hump if our registered voters could have got it. I mean, you can play that. You can play that game all you want to.
The influence.
I'm not gonna play that game.
Understand the degrees of influence. The degrees of influence work like this. If there's one person that's listening right now, and that who's decided, who have not voted in recent elections, that adult. Well, that adult, if you encourage him or her, then you're converting that one person. If you're influencing that grassroots coach who has influence over an entire flock, direct influence, because if he influenced you to come play for him on his team, then he has influence over you. He's influencing you to come and play in a certain tournament. And we're gonna start practicing, even though COVID-19 is in effect, but we're gonna practice on this Tuesday or this Thursday at this place right here. That's influence. So that's what I'm saying. That means now for every person now, you're influencing 1 + 10. And that's the thing. And that 10, those young people, because once again, you're asking some old dogs to change their old habits. And that is a
Somebody
habit.
said, I'm missing the point. Evidently, you're not listening to me. Sometimes I think I got to, maybe I need to talk some kind of way. I don't know what the hell. How the hell I'm missing the point how many people voted for the food? I know how many people voted for the food. But it was a lot of people that could have voted that didn't vote it, could have overcame the voting for the food. The food didn't win the popular vote. He won the electoral vote, Martin Vaughn. Hillary got more votes than he did. Let me repeat that, so in case you didn't hear it. Hillary got more of the popular vote. She got more votes overall. The fool, you may got me calling the man the fool. The man won the electoral college because he won the key states in the electoral colleges. It's just a couple of key states that we could have won, the Democrats could have won. We didn't vote. We didn't get out. We let the lines discourage us. We got out of line. I'm talking about Detroit. I'm talking about Philly. I'm talking about Florida. I'm talking about Indiana. Dude, this thing was close. Yeah, I know. Let me tell you something. And I don't talk about the guy anymore that bad. Y'all notice I don't talk about 45 as much because I ain't mad at him. I'm mad at you people who voted for him. Are you people who didn't vote for the other lady? Okay, them the people. I'm not mad at him. He just doing what he's always been doing. He being Donald Trump, the reality star. I don't want to talk to you. I don't like where your mask is. I don't want to talk to you. You answered me the wrong question. You're fired. That's what you got with your abstinence. That's what Jimmy was talking about. Of course, register all the new voters you can. But the voters that didn't vote could have got that. This stuff don't supposed to be happening. Stuff don't vote because this same guy, he called. Hey man, you know what? So, it's just crazy, Jimmy. I mean, it's I don't want to talk about this as much because I know the importance of voting, and we got clowns that don't understand it. They just sit back and run their mouth. They get put off of they get banned off of Facebook, get banned off of stuff like that. Hey man, it's time for solutions now. Not your rhetoric. Not your rhetoric. It's time for solutions. And Jimmy, we got 10 more minutes. Just asking for solutions. Jimmy, what did you say a minute ago? Gotcha. Well, the difference between when the white people go vote, when the white people go protest, they got a permit. Y'all go out there without a permit because we don't know no better. Because ain't nobody told them to go do that. Organize first. So somebody that told you your vote wasn't important. You got clowns come on this show every day and put this mess on our Facebook feed that after a while I'm going to block. Your vote does matter, man. Because if your vote didn't matter, why are they changing the law so your black ass can't vote? See, I said I wasn't going to curse today. Why are they gerrymandering the districts so they can win? Why they used to kill you, cut your leg, used to hang you if you wanted to vote? If your vote wasn't important, fool who said it wasn't, why they trying to stop you from voting? If people ain't gonna kill you, people ain't gonna try to stop you from doing something that don't hurt them or don't affect them. You go to the Supreme Court dockets. That's why this guy, think about it, Jimmy. This dude, Mitch McConnell, he ain't worried about this economy. He trying to get people back. So guess what? They can vote on these judges. Because once you appoint these judges, they judges for life. These the people that makes the rules. that keep them police officers. They might have got fired, but guess what? They can go get hired somewhere else. Come on, man. Sometimes sometimes we be in such a fog that we just don't use common sense. But Jimmy, let me tell you something. I'm finding out that common sense just not common anymore because of some of the comments I see. But guess what? I ain't got no more sense. I'm using all mine. I repeat that. I'm using mine. I ain't got none. Game ain't rigged. Game is rigged. You get your black ass off the court and vote. Always talking about it's rigged. You're defeated already. The hell out of here. I've seen what voting can do. Maybe in your lifetime you ain't seen it because you don't understand the process. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because that Supreme Court justice the fool he appointed, he can affect your life for the rest of your life and our kids and my kids' kids. Since you say it don't matter and it's rigged, the hell out of here with that. But Jimmy, come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, y'all better go take some political science classes and understand the way this process works.
One thing for certain, and I say it again, it's a call to action, and it's a challenge. Since you guys love to do social media challenges nowadays, all of the challenges it seem to have a little dancing to do or a little jigging to do in some of them nowadays. Well, how about the register to vote challenge? And it's two things that will scare. It will scare. It really would pose fear into a lot of the white nationalists without even saying the actual word to separate political lines. Because white nationalists goes beyond that. It's deeper. Well, number one, and people said it before, and once again, a lot of people did and didn't. Because that is, if there was led to be the need or known to be a sharp spike in African Americans who are purchasing firearms in a certain period of time, if that becomes true, that will pose a fear, a concern, put it like that. Now, guess what? You can think all you want about the NRA, you're not changing that. They're going to make their bread regardless. Now, the thing is, if you did that, then they have a way to calculate that a greater percentage might be packing legally. A lot of them are under the impression that a great percentage of us who are packing illegally, which in certain communities that very well may be true. If you do that and are registered to vote, it will bring about a great deal of concern, because now they see you coming. That means your potential. That don't even mean, it's kind of like coming to a squabble and you walk into that squabble and you got 25 people with you. They only got 5. That don't even mean 25 people. They didn't come there to fight. You just told them to come with you just for the presence of the muscle that you possibly can have behind you. So once again, I'm curious for the grassroots coach out there who can say that they will have every player that's coming through their program that's eligible to vote, that they're going to register them to vote this coming summer. Hell, you ain't doing nothing else. You missed half the summer.
Hey, Jimmy, not only register them to vote, just let them understand the responsibility of voting, too. I mean, we got to educate them. You can't give them no gun and not tell them how to shoot it. You just giving the fool a gun. We got to educate them on this thing. I'm just telling you, just like giving you a Ferrari. Most people will get in it and don't know how to start it up.
Well, hell, it's like going to get a driver's license. That don't mean you got to, in order to get a driver's license, then you will be expected, of course.
But we need help, Jimmy. Jimmy, we need help. We want our guys to vote. We want our guys to be educated. And if they be around me long enough, and high school coaches, I'll come. I mean, summer coaches, I'll come help them. I'll come help them. I will. But Jimmy, like I said, man, just when you think sense is common, somebody will come along and show you that it's rather rare. At least in their case, man. And like I said, I told you again, I ain't got no sense. I've been using all mines up, man. I've been using them. Dude, this stuff, man, that's why I don't like to talk about this. I got a passion, like I said, for my people. And we're going to figure this thing out, man. Because guess what? As soon as I get off the phone with you, I'm calling that number again, Jimmy. I'm calling that number again, Jimmy. As soon as I get off the phone. As soon as I get off the air, I'm doing it again. And guess what? I'm going to put it on hold. Whatever they do to me, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to let the prosecutor knows. Hey, man, that ain't, no, we got to, I demand justice for George Floyd, man. Because that could have been my baby. Could have been my son. Could be my daughter. I'm not just doing it for men, for men. It's for women too. For mankind, man. Come on, Jimmy. Let's what you call it? Let's yabba da. Hey, no. We got 4 more minutes left. We got 4 minutes. What you got, Jimmy?
And of course, what Rick says, money carries more weight than votes. If we're being realistic, those who donate the most receive the most benefits.
Well, start donating then. Start donating.
It's the American way.
Jimmy, I wouldn't have never thought in my life that I would ever meet President of the United States. I just wasn't even thinking about it. I thought when I was young, I was going to be the first black president. But guess what? Jimmy, before he went to our caucus, Barack Obama came to the Toyota Center. Guy emailed all the guys. He said, man, $500 from each one of y'all. We're going to take this money and donate it to Barack campaign. You invited. $500 get you invited. Jimmy, that was the best spent $500 I ever spent in my life. And Rick, it cost. Everything costs, Rick. Rick, you ain't getting nothing. But Jimmy, what's your favorite thing? Big bank, take little bank, don't it? Jimmy, we in positions of power now. We in positions of power. All we got to do is pull certain levels. Quit being so hopeless. Quit being so hopeless. I was there when I was young. I was hopeless like that. I read a book called Understanding Your Potential by Miles Monroe. Rest in heaven, rest in peace. Understanding my potential. Understanding that I was placed here for a reason. I didn't just haphazardly come here because my mom and daddy had a good time one night. I was put here for a reason. And in the graveyard, and in his forward in his book, he said one of the most expensive, one of the most valuable places on earth is not the oil fields of Kuwait. It's not the diamond mines of South Africa. But one of the most valuable places, your local cemetery. Because in those cemeteries are dreams that were never fulfilled, songs that were never sung, inventions that would never ever be come to fruition, because those people died without fulfilling their potential. And he said something key. He said it was hopelessness, alcoholism, one more thing, and poorly chosen friends. He named the cause. Alcoholism, hopelessness, all of this. And he mentioned poorly chosen friends, that people didn't fulfill their potential, are in the graveyard, and never fulfilled their potential. Guess what? I was not going to let the graveyard rob y'all of me being on this show today. Was not going to let it happen. And it could have happened. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, man. You never been there? People just think my life been, no. Life hadn't been a bed of roses. But I persevered, man. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Man, we can't lose hope. We got to do something. Jimmy said it earlier. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I just told you to pick up the phone and call. You probably don't want to do that, but you want to type. It's crazy. But Jimmy, finish the show, man. Boy, yeah, we good. You can get us out of here. You can take. Hey, Jimmy, you can take us home. How they say? You can take us home.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. The bottom line, you just got to. You're talking about the change, and as I just mentioned and explained it to Lil Rick, and one thing that definitely your vote has proven that it can do is Houston Independent School District is the third largest school district in the United States of America. We've proven that Black folk in the recent past garnered control of that district. Now, albeit the state has come and taken over, I'm talking about it was a collective effort to get enough representation on the school board, and as well as the interim superintendent as right now. Well, you've shown in the recent past that African American can become mayor of this city and become the first mayor of this city.
Jimmy, didn't that take votes? Didn't that take votes?
Just
yes or no? Did it take votes? Yes.
Yeah, it took votes.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So at the lower level, that's where it starts. So we're thinking about most of the people that hit home runs aren't trying to hit home runs. Most of the people that hit home runs, guys, are just trying to hit the ball hard. You're trying to just drive, just a baseball analogy, and that's the truth. Yes, there are sluggers out there going for the fence, but that's not most. Most people who hit home runs are just trying to hit it hard. And the ones who hit it hard ended up getting results, and for whatever the reason may be. So understand, that means, as we leave you guys, to understand, it can make a difference. That's why, remember when the Chop Shop first was established almost 4 years ago, or more than 4 years ago, May, it's 4 years this month. Well, Chris Walker had divulged, and I explained to you guys back on the AM dial. We had came over the thought, and I broke down the numbers to Chris one day and showed him after the election. Remember, Chris wasn't living in Houston. He was in between coaching gigs, and so he was staying. He's from here. His mom and grandparents and brothers live here, but so he was here, and I showed him the numbers of how many votes that people had got into offices with on the local level, justice of the peace and this and that. And he saw those numbers, and he was like, he pulled out his calculator on his cell phone and started doing the math. He was like, hell, if I just got the high school football players, and his thing was he find the jocks, because the jocks gonna get the rest of the football players, the followers, gonna follow in. Get those jocks, identify those jocks, get the captain of the cheerleaders. Once you get the captain of the cheerleaders, the rest of the other girls gonna follow on suit. And that was his theme. And we was gonna Chris was serious, but then Chris wanted to jump from, I was thinking about go get a seat on councils. Chris started thinking about some state stuff, representative, which he probably could because so many incumbents. But it's that type of it was going to take some galvanizing. You got to go.
So you just made me think about one topic. Keep it up, Jimmy.
You got to put people in position. That's the thing. When people and one of the things, Hallie, you mentioned earlier a lot of people will try to do stuff on their own. And you have to galvanize in some form of that. Go back, remember the movie New Jack City?
Love that movie.
Nino Brown, think about the guys he had around him. He had an accountant in the circle. Think about it. He had an accountant in the hood. He had another guy that did this, different people. So you have to find people who could and make your own team or join a team that could use your expertise, and that's galvanizing at its fullest. You don't wait and think everybody's supposed to just find you. Ask somebody today, what do you need me to do? I'm here. Somebody that you know that probably can help in your team, or you can help them to form a super union, a superpower, a superhero. Since some of you guys have grown, want to act like kids so much, we'll use the superheroes term. That'll make you feel like Superman, Batman, Aquaman, whatever the hell you want. That's what you could do then. But do it. And that's what I leave you guys with.
I got one message and we off. Jimmy, and it just came on my spirit. I want y'all to avoid, do me a favor, y'all, avoid the Negro naysayer. The person who found a problem with every solution. These people don't build, they destroy. They don't love, they hate. They don't defend, they attack. Because deep down, they don't believe black people are capable of building anything. And don't you ever forget that everybody your color ain't your kind. Chop, we're going to slide down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Great day. Thank you, Ashton Washington. Great show. Hey, y'all, we'll see y'all. How many hours, Jimmy? 20? How many hours? 22 hours. We'll see y'all in 22 hours, man. I loved it. Out.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk.